The measure of a people's hearts is this: do we remember the sacrifices of the past? Do we work for peace in the present? Do we speak of hope for the future? And so we come now before God, to name as our dream God's reign of shalom, to commit ourselves to the cause of peace, and to remember. We remember those who have died in times of war and in peacekeeping missions. At the going down of the sun and in the morning, we will remember them. We remember victims of war, the most vulnerable, children, the sick and disabled, the marginalized. At the going down of the sun and in the morning, we will remember them. We remember the families of service people, the sacrifice of love they made. At the going down of the sun and in the morning, we will remember them. We remember the earth, the destruction of God's creation caused by war. Loving God, make us co-creators with you. We remember the thousands of refugees displaced by war who have to seek a new place of safety to call home. Loving God, make us instruments of your peace. We remember that God calls us to forgive and to be reconciled to one another. Loving God, make us instruments of your peace. We remember that Jesus Christ is the light of the world, shining persistently in the darkest places and worst of times. Loving God, let the light of Christ shine in and through our lives. They shall grow not old, as we that are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. We will remember them.
"103 years ago, this week, the Great War ended. Canada was a much smaller country then, about 8 million people. Yet about 600,000 wore the uniform, and 40,000 were killed. The names of the dead are on the National Monument in Ottawa, and also from our founder congregations. At the back of the church, on the left-hand side, you will see the names of those who served in the First World War from the Clarkson campus and those who did not make it. The fatalities were M.F. Chapman, Pat Kelly, Oswald Miller, Harold O'Hara, Eli Rossiter, Edgerton Sayre, and Howard Shaver. In 1939, only 21 years after the war to end all wars, World War II started, often called the Hitler War, and probably one of the most easily justifiable wars that Canada ever fought. Again, the Canadians answered the call. The plaque at the back shows the names of the 6 that fell in that war from this campus: Thomas Anderson, Arthur Beaver, R.C. Butler, William Wilburn Chubb, John Wilson, and William Younger. The honor roll from the Second World War for Port Credit is also back there, and those who made the supreme sacrifice in that war were L. Block, M. Costello, G. Faskin, G. Ridley, and D. Wilson. I realize that most of us would not know those people. They are long gone, but yet to be honored and respected. We have also, in this congregation, many who served but joined the congregation after those roles were prepared. You remember, and you might remember, the great baby boom after the war and the great expansion of churches. Both congregations expanded rapidly, and we have attempted to assemble the names of those who served but were not on those rolls. Please, if you know somebody who did serve in the Second World War and whose name I do not read, please let the office know so that we can rectify the omission. We do remember Kay Alton, Thomas Anderson, Arthur Beaver, Dan Brown, R.C. Butler, Lloyd Chapman, Stan Scholes, Wilburn Chubb, Roy Collins, Howard Cousins, Jim Fisher, David Giffen, Harvey Gillum, Fred Ham, Gordon Hurd, Fred Johnlin, who was the minister at Port Credit, but also served the full term as a padre in the Second World War, Stu Johnson, Harry Orr, Ray Passfield. Ray's brother John is on one of the scrolls. Wolf Rogers, Harry Tatchell, Art Thompson, Harold Wilson, John Wilson, Billy Wilson, Ralph Whitty, William Younger, and Murray Young. Murray, by the way, was a recipient of the Légion d'honneur from the French government for soldiers and sailors and airmen who served in the liberation of France between D-Day in June 44 to the fall of France, the liberation of France. Now, last but not least, Connie Young. Connie, to my knowledge, is the last surviving member of this congregation who served in the Second World War. Sorry, Connie, didn't mean to age you that fast. Connie, would you please stand up and show us you're still in? Thank you. On behalf of all those of my generation who were too young to serve in the Second World War, to you, Connie, as a representative of those who were of the proper age and who did volunteer to serve, we thank you and we salute you. In the morning and at the going down of the sun, we shall remember them.
Thank you.